Hi there! Thank you for joining me for my very first Valentine's Day DIY project. This is going to be pretty fun. I have some scrap wood in my garage, so I thought it would be great to finally do something with it. So I had a nice piece that was cut down, and I just used some wood filler on the edge. It's the kind that goes on pink, and whenever it's dry it just turns white. So I let that sit for a while, sanded it down, and then I was ready to go ahead and prime it. I just used the pretty simple, what is it, the Anita's acrylic craft paint, that one. So I'm gonna put this little blue piece of paper down because I am a mess and I keep getting paint all over my cutting mat, and I'm trying to keep it nice. But other people seem to keep theirs so perfect, and I've tried using different things like acetone, alcohol. It is what it is. It's stained. It's for crafting, but for this purpose I just want to make it look cute. So once I get this nice coat on there, I'm going to go ahead and go into Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to just type XOXO using the font Holiday Season that I purchased off of Etsy. It is a commercial use font. We're going to make sure that we mirror our image, and because we're going to be using glitter iron-on, and whenever you're using iron-on, you always want to make sure that you mirror the image so that you don't mess up the design when it goes onto the surface that you're going on, or else it's going to be backwards. If you just search for glitter iron-on in the more materials option, I like to go with that just because it's already pre-default, and I'm also going to use my pressure default to more since my Cricut my blade on there right now is kind of dull. So it's run its course and I'm peeling it off the Cricut mat now. Make sure that you always put the shiny side down because I didn't know that when I did my very first Cricut project, and I cut through the wrong side of the material and wasted about, $100 worth of material because it's really expensive. But I guess you live and you learn. So I'm just gonna cut this down. I always use a little bit extra and then I just trim off whatever excess I don't use, because you can always use the snap map feature on your iPad if you use Cricut Design Space on there. So once I get this all cut down, I immediately want to try and start weeding it, and I noticed that it got ripped a little bit. So since my blade was dull, I kind of dealt with the consequence there, but it's nothing good old-fashioned scissors can't fix. And I wanted to see how good it sucked down, so I'm just going to take my Cricut scraper and just give it a good scrape over it. That way I know that it's sticking. I know it's all nice and sticky, so I just want to go ahead and just rip off all of that excess. I'm not the queen of weeding. It actually stresses me out because I destroy so many of my projects, but I do the best I can. Like this O that I almost ripped off and I had to cut with scissors. But I mean, it's a learning experience. I still have a lot to learn. But it's easy. You just kind of cut off that piece, and then I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep it on there at all, and I ended up ripping it because, again, not the queen of weeding. So once I finally got the last bit of this weeded off, I decided to cut off that other O completely because I wanted to see how it would look without it. And I actually kind of liked it, and then I decided, no, I gotta put it back on. It's part of the family. It's part of the hugs and kisses. What are hugs without kisses? So that's all done, taken care of. I'm gonna test it out on the little piece of wood, see how I like it, see how it fits. I did put it too close to the 1X, and so I just took it off again and put it on there. And that is the joy of crafting. You can do whatever you want, however you like, because it is your creation. My little area is a mess, so I'm going to tidy it up a little bit, and I'm ready to get on to the second phase of this where I get to paint it. And here I have quite a few colors. I still have the Anita's acrylic paint. I'm using Princess Pink, I am using Baby Pink, I'm using dark red, what is this, tomato red. I have some metallics out there too. So I'm going to get everything shaken up so that I can get it put on the palette. I like to see my colors outside of the bottle, and a lot of the techniques I use don't require a whole lot of paint since I already have a base coat down. I like mine to be kind of funky and weird and have a lot of texture. I don't really do a lot of stuff that's just like one flat color. I like to use metallics a lot just because whenever the light hits it, it just looks so good. It gives it just a different look. So I'm just going to go in with this different red, pinks, and a little bit of black and let you watch it transform. And we'll be right back. Alright gang, we have made it this far. I've got pretty much everything that I want on there. I do just need to go in now and make sure I clean up these edges. I'm one of those people that ends up always doing the edges and doing the back because if somebody were to pick it up and look at it, I'd be embarrassed if there was just unfinished parts of it. Even at the end of this, I have some of that stick-on cork that I bought from the Dollar Tree. It's just a nice little sheet and I just stuck it on the back of this because I had tried doing some testing with a staple gun that I got, but it's fine because this is just a temporary piece anyway. And I like to go around and just rough this up a little bit, kind of like inspired by some sort of shabby chic sort of thing, but also sort of cute and glam in its own little way. You like what you like, okay? Okay. So I just want to make sure these edges are cleaned up, nice and dark. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but at least it looks good if somebody were to pick it up and look at it, you know what I mean? It's kind of like when people look around your house when they come over to see if you really clean your house or not. It's kind of like that. So that's all taken care of. Gonna clean up this bottom part and I need to let this dry for a minute. Usually when I'm going over this, a lot of it dries pretty quickly since I do more of a dry brushing technique. I'm gonna need to go ahead and get my Cricut iron ready, so I'm gonna put it up to the second heat setting that's on there. It doesn't take long at all for it to heat up, maybe a minute or two. And I have my design lined up on the piece of wood and I'm just looking at it to see if there's anything else I want to add. And I want to make sure it's as center as it can be. It'll work out. And my Cricut's ready to go. I want to take my Cricut scraper and go over this just to make sure that it's actually sticking to the wood the way I want it to. And just go over it. I usually keep the iron over each one of the letters about 5 to 10 seconds, and then I just take my scraper and go over that letter just to make that glue really stick on there. What I love about using the iron on in general on the wood is that as it cools down, it sticks better. And this is a little bit more of a permanent piece, like it's going to be kind of difficult to get the iron on off versus if you just use regular vinyl, but if I want to use this again for something, I have it, which is nice. So I'm going to let it chill out and let it cool and do its thing, and then I'm going to be eager and go ahead and start peeling this junk off because I'm excited because I made it. And that little O was just separate, but it peels off just as easy as all the rest. And ooh, it's so pretty and sparkly and cute. Look. Thank you for joining me for this project. Happy Valentine's.